In attendance, Commissioner Higgins and
Commissioner
Johnson.
Johnson.
Also Superintendent Randy Sylvester, Supervisor Steve Dempsey, and Liz Welch, Administrative Secretary. So the first agenda item is the minutes, last meeting.
Yeah, I haven't really had a shot at looking at that. Okay, can we put that off till the next meeting?
That's fine, because we just got them to
Okay.
you, so that's fine.
And we'll look at the calendar here, see when the next meeting might be.
What do you got?
Hold on for a second.
Look here.
Today is
February 25th, so you gotta go into
all day.
March.
Yeah, so no good to March. Have to be after the 15th, please.
15th, after the 15th of March?
Yes.
I'm going to be out of town the 18th to the 22nd.
8th
Okay,
and
so it'll
22nd.
have to be after the 22nd.
So
All
we'll
right,
make it the 24th?
March 24. Okay, March 24.
What's that fall on?
You all set with that date, Liz? March 24, Liz,
That's on a Tuesday.
7 o'clock,
That's Tuesday, yeah.
Tuesday. Okay. Great.
Okay. So the first agenda article is North Sewer District boundary vote.
We talked about it last week and we reviewed it, and it looks pretty good to me. And I did have a question which was answered for me very quickly and very nicely. And I think it's very representative, as far as I can tell, of the district. Okay. So I think we should accept that map as, that's it, that's the boundary. Okay, and I don't know if Stephen has any further comments, or Randy.
That's what the MWRA gave us.
Yeah, so we're going to
District.
stick with it.
We just
So
want
are
to
they establishing policy for us, or are we establishing the policy?
They established the
Boundary.
boundary.
Okay, we don't have anything to say?
Excuse me?
Do we have any say on it?
In the future, you may.
Okay, that's the only thing.
You
Yeah,
can ask them for things to come in, but we have to, for our purposes and people wanting to get into the district, we have to have a solid line to go by. We can't be wishy-washy here and
Right.
there.
Yep.
We gotta have a solid line. Now, we've established a solid line, and the MWRA has come back and said, yes, that's the line. We're just asking you to
Approve it.
okay it and approve it,
Yeah.
because that's how it's written in, I don't know, what, 1958 or something? 1945.
1946.
Yeah, I think I was wondering what precedent does it have on the Commission future policy determination for all new development projects?
In the district?
Yeah.
That's, if it's within the district, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's outside the district, where you
Okay.
have to go to the MWRA legislation and get them brought in.
Brought in, okay. So we're on pretty firm grounds the way it is set up now, I would take, right?
You got Ship and Cottage in, they're within the district.
Yeah.
There was no special legislation there.
You know, the Lewis Court proposed subdivision is what kind of started this conversation, which we, excuse me, was clarified. You know, we found out which lots could get in and which couldn't, and we could open this up to maybe future conversations about some errors that had been made, or so we don't make any more errors, or, you know, that sort of a,
We don't want to even talk about that.
Well, basically, Steve and I have sat down, talked to the MWRA, and we want everyone on the same page. This is the line, this is the line. And then we can move forward from there, so we can be consistent and not have mistakes happen. And that's basically why we're here, asking you to vote on it. It's why we went to the MWRA.
So as long as we stay within that 200-foot region, we're all set then, right?
As long as it's within 200 feet and Well, there's other parameters also, but
And now it's very clear to us, as long as we're all on the same page, we can move forward pretty easily.
Okay,
I'd like to make a motion that
we accept it.
we accept that and, as is, and that we have to go by it. That's it. That's the district. And, that's it. What do you say?
Have a- Here a second?
Yeah, I'll second that
Kenny?
motion.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
excellent.
Thank you.
The next item is consolidation agreement extension. Will you make a motion on that?
Yeah, last week we voted to extend it 60 days, but it was not on the agenda. So now it is on the agenda, and I'd like to make a motion to extend it until the end of April. 60 days, 90s, whatever that time frame is.
Be April 11th.
April 11th.
You're a second on it?
I'll second that motion.
Okay,
All those in favor?
yep.
Aye.
Aye.
That's 60 days, Randy?
April what?
April 11th?
11th, I believe.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 13th because there's only 28 days, but we'll figure it out.
On or about April
It's
11th?
not
Yeah.
60 days from now, it's 60 days from now.
Okay. The next article
60
is the
days from now.
wastewater management plan review. Is-
Yeah, I did talk to Kurt today, and of course, he's coming out of Brookline. Hopefully, he says he'll be here by 7:30, hopefully. But I have a number of questions about it without talking to Kurt. I mean, there's enough going on with that, and I think Ken may have reviewed it also. And there's a lot of stuff that's missing out of this plan that I think the DEP will want, okay? And I think there's a few other issues, one of which is the betterment itself, how we're going to assess the betterment. That can be done in-house. We'll sit down together and we'll work that out. I did pick up in the Phase 2, one of the recommendations for the betterment was, in addition to the betterment, whatever the unit charge would be, they're looking to possibly have the taxpayers pay something into a fund that would help to ease the betterment. And that's just something that was in there that I picked out, and we can talk about that. I'm not sure that's the way to go, but we can certainly talk about it. So we're going to have to talk about that, okay? And that is just seeing the betterment and special assessments
Yeah.
and collection procedures, and we have to go by that. That's the state law, and we will, but we can enhance that in the community if the community chooses to do so. So that's something that we're going to have to do. And then the local policy, which is Section 6 of the Phase 2 of the wastewater management plan review, is about local policy. One of the problems I have with trying to create a local policy at this time, we don't know exactly what's going to happen up there, other than we have the gallons of flow that they're estimating based on the zoning and so forth and so on. You know, we do have to have an application process, and we have to have a payment process, and we have to have policies and so forth and so on. But I don't think we have enough information and enough detail, quite frankly, to go ahead with a local policy. We can start it, of course, okay? Again, I think through a working group, and we'll even get Roger included in that if we can, if he has the time. And I think that's where we need to go with that. We should start to develop it. I'm not sure that the DEP, once we submit this whole thing, is that much interested in local policy. But without the criteria, which I'm trying to get the criteria for this whole thing. And as soon as we get that, then we can look into it, okay, and see what happens. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done that I think we should have a professional company finish this report. This is only my opinion, okay? So, and I would like to talk to our consulting engineer first, give him a task order and see how much it's going to cost. And if it's reasonable, maybe we can do it, maybe we cannot. But if it's high, then we're going to have to put it on RFP to finish this thing. Okay? So
How
I
much
think
do we
it's
have in there now in
important.
consultant, you know?
Well, I don't know what the balance is
What's the
right now,
balance
what's
on the
left with,
consultant now, you know?
Or can,
With,
For the rest of the
Weston
year?
Sampson?
Weston and Sampson, the rest,
just, there's probably $9,000?
yeah.
Could we ask them to see what they could come up with a figure, what they figure was gonna cost to,
Complete the
complete the
report.
report? and then
We
put
do
it-
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, we can do that. They're gonna have to go through the report and see basically the requirements and whatnot.
Well,
And then work up a price, and that's gonna cost money.
Yeah, let me back up a little bit. The only thing I'm interested in, I think the only thing, because it's a pretty well-written document, and basically, okay, I don't want to review the entire documents, because it's going to just become a baseline document that's going to change next year or the year after, I promise you that. But that Section 5, we just need to make sure that that's a complete section, because there are a lot of questions about the locations and the soil conditions and so forth, and Ken can elaborate on that. He brought it to my attention, by the way. I was looking at it, but I didn't see it, so, but Ken did, and maybe, Ken, you could elaborate a little bit about what you saw there.
Yeah, so, I had a couple of questions.
Sure.
And only because I wasn't involved in, during this whole committee process, which went on for years, which, by the way, they deserve, a huge kudos for getting this thing done. That was a lot of work, a lot of effort, and a really nice plan that lays out a framework moving forward for the town. But I was curious where they sort of left off, if they sort of just disbanded. Is it safe to assume that wastewater master planning committee, was that established by the selectmen? Did they ever go back with their report to the selectmen? Did they, in terms of process and governance, did the selectmen need to adopt it or
Well,
accept it? Because it then, the report as written charges the sewer commission with the responsibility to
Exactly.
be the keeper of this and to
Yeah.
have a public process as they go through and update that.
The last I read on the website, that they made a report on the website, and they had talked about disbanding, quite frankly, but they did not, for whatever reason, whether they had an intention to go further with it or not, I don't know. But the only contact I've had with that is with Kirk, and we've all had contact with that. And now I think that we know that there's more work to be done, I think, than we can do in-house, quite frankly.
What part of the program is to be completed? Do you have any idea?
Well, Section 5, which I just received from Kirk recently, and Kenny has a copy also. So that's recommended plans, locations, soil assessment, and a whole bunch of issues. None of that is addressed in there, okay? And so, rather than risk sending it into the DEP and have them bounce it all the way down Commonwealth Avenue back to Hingham, after reviewing, I think it needs some work, okay? And I think because they've already have a comprehensive document here from professional engineering firm and so forth, I think to finish it up properly, we need to do the same thing. Otherwise, we're going to be doing a lot of wheel spinning and spending a lot of time in work sessions trying to figure out. But we have to get the criteria from that committee or from Kirk, from somebody, to make sure that we understand where we're going with this.
Give us an overview on what need to be completed on that?
Yeah, well, tonight he said he might have
I
the,
believe a copy of that went to the DEP, but they didn't approve it. I think they still have it. They said it was incomplete. And I'm not sure where the incompleteness is, but I believe it's been sent to the DEP.
okay, so
They've come back with it, that it's incomplete. I mean, I'd have to
did they have a
research more.
correspondence on that, do you know, that,
I don't.
no, but I mean,
I'm not sure.
yeah, that's another question for Kirk,
We can maybe inquire where it's not
Yeah.
incomplete from them, you know?
No. Maybe we don't need to do as much as we think, but I still think we need to engage the services of someone to finish this thing up. Answer the questions for the DEP if there's a written correspondence to us that it's unacceptable for this, and this, and get it over with. But we need to get a copy of the criteria.
Yeah,
Okay.
for example, in this
Go ahead, Ken.
draft Section 5, which is a recommended plan, it makes reference to a couple of figures that are supposed to be attached that are currently not attached. Maybe they exist, maybe they don't. I don't know. One is a proposed phasing plan, It references a figure 5-2. There was another one, an implementation schedule, proposed schedule for implementing it is in figure 5-3. So it sounds like they were,
Is this all for South Hingham?
yeah, this
Yes.
is all the South Hingham.
Yeah, this is this whole phase two is all about South Hingham. And so there's no other plan or no other mention of the other locations in phase one in that index that they created. There's nothing other than just they identified those locations, and I'm not sure that,
So just so I have this straight.
Yep.
If I talk to Weston and Sampson, what you want is to have them briefly go through these documents and then find out what we need to complete them,
Yeah,
or come up with another document that is complete.
yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
But it's only going to be for section 5. I think that's what bounced back. That's why we have it now, and I did not know that, but now I think it's only that section 5. Have them review that versus the criteria and update it or correct it or provide the information that we need to get back to the DEP.
And you think that Section 6, the local policy, is something that can be handled in-house?
Well,
Or is that what we're speaking to Weston and Sampson
well,
about?
that's the other thing we want to talk to Weston and Sampson. Maybe we could have them provide us a draft in-house policy for this.
Because we are working with them, the work sessions,
Yeah,
with the regulations and policies. That's one of the things that we're doing, and they were contracted to do from last year.
okay, but they're working on the Hingham Sewer District, is that correct? Is that the major focus?
They're doing a policy, the policies for the commission.
Okay, so that includes the South Hingham?
Well, I guess that's going to be up to the commission if it's policies
Okay,
for
but was
there.
that in their task order to
In their contract?
No.
probably, okay, so we're gonna have to do that. Maybe we could tie that in with what we're looking for here in one lump sum and see if we can't get something done with that.
No, I have, and if that's going to be done and it's not already within their task, and I don't think it is,
No,
that will be extra funding for Weston and Sampson.
I understand.
I did encumber $15,000 to have this task done, to get the regulations and the policies done for the commission.
Yep,
That's just about spent,
yeah,
and I know they want to have another work session so we can get this thing done and approved. But if anything's added, there will be a cost associated with that.
so, okay, an
Will we
additional
ask them
cost.
What the cost would
Well, that's
be?
why I say if we give them the task, this is what we need to do. Can you give us a
Figure?
flat rate price? Give us a flat price to complete this.
Time and materials, basically?
B&M, whatever, Randy, so that we can get that, and,
Okay.
I'll be happy to make all the copies of Section 5.
I think that's fine. I think so. This Section 6, which deals with sort of the local governance
Right.
of this, and it sounds like the connection policy, expansion policies, that's all is what Weston and Sampson is working on now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that seems like that'll
Would tie
address that Section 6 and get that sort of the next logical step
Yeah,
to
okay.
enhancing that. Section 5, and just looking through it quickly, it looks like Weston and Sampson may not be able to finish that without input from the commission regarding, what the implementation schedule is. When is that project planned for?
We can use the word unknown.
Unknown, yeah.
I think it's all unknown. There's a lot of unknown things, but in order to satisfy the criteria, they've extended the plan out to 2025, and I think that's the extension I think we could use. We can't go any further than that, okay? Because it only addresses it to 2025, and here it is 2015. So there's a 10-year window, And in between now and then, of course, we're going to be changing that document anyhow to suit the Planning and Zoning Board if they elect to rezone, okay, up there, and they're going to allow certain things. We may have to have certain allowances also. So I think this will help us to be flexible in our thinking about how to do that.
So it may not be a heavy lift then to
Mm.
really
You're
give
right.
the little bit of supplemental information that the DEP may be looking for. It may
Yeah.
not be a heavy lift to be able to provide that.
No.
We inquire to them, ask them where we stand on that?
The DEP?
Yeah.
Have we?
No, could we?
Yes, I believe it has been inquired to, Emily Wentworth, I believe, asked regarding that. I believe it could have been someone else, but
Oh, really?
I'll ask again.
Yeah, see if we can find out, maybe we can get information that we need.
And if they have any, I guess, more in-depth comments other than it appears to be incomplete.
Well, that's what we're looking for. We want to address those issues for them and revise this Section 5 and get it into them. And if that's all that's needed, that's great. You know? I was kind of hoping that was I was just hoping that this Section 5 was the end of the road, because they've come so far with all this documentation. To not finish it off in a proper manner according to the criteria seems a little strange to me, but they ran out of money, so they couldn't go any further. So,
Shouldn't have, though,
Well-
400,000.
not much
But
we
it
can
also,
do.
I mean, the current Section 5, which is the recommended implementation
Implementation.
plan, only deals with just the South Hingham.
South Hingham does not address the other indexed locations in Phase 1. There's nothing.
You know, in some of those,
Yeah.
if you were to look in the earlier sections, they indicate that there are other higher priority
Priorities,
areas
right.
in the town, and I would assume that DEP would be interested in understanding, well, if your plan is to go a little bit out of sequence
Yeah.
for whatever reason, what is your plan to go back and address the higher priority areas?
Yeah, and I think as long as you inform them and you give them a reasonable answer, they have no problem with that.
Right.
For instance, in the Phase 1 documentation, it lists all those other locations, and then there's a paragraph on the next page which references a need at World's End.
Will's in, yeah.
At World's End. So, and that is not on the list. So, I mean, whether they had to select so many locations, and this is what they came up. I can see some of the locations, like Acord Pond Drive there that goes around the water supply around the pond, and some of the areas, around the pond and other watershed protection areas and stuff like that. So it makes sense to protect those areas with closed source systems, and because there's a lot of surface supply up there, so you need to be careful. But that's a whole nother, So that's what I'd like to do, Randy, and if you want to talk to them,
I'll try to get where we are with it.
yeah, it would really be helpful. I know you have a lot on your plate. I mean, I'll be happy to talk to them. Okay,
I believe it's already been done, but I will check and make a call
okay.
if I have to.
Okay, that would be good, because I think we're just beating the bushes here with a lot of stuff that's,
So we'll wait until you see.
well, he says he might be here at 7:30, so,
You want to discuss other items not
Uh,
reasonably to be
well,
known by the
that
chair?
betterment, like we talked about before, we'll get after that in-house too.
Yeah.
We can do that. And other than that, I can't think of anything else, just for general discussion. Kenny, any other comments about
I think, when we attended the
financial
yeah,
planning? Yeah,
infrastructure financing
Yeah.
program that was
Yeah.
part of the South Hingham Study Group.
Right.
They brought out some folks from Mass Development that have some alternative approaches in
To
addition
financing.
to financing, which,
Well, I was going to, when we start discussing the betterments, even if the town of Hingham, for instance, was able to qualify for some of that, we still have to get it back from the property owners and the developers up there, okay, through the betterment. But if it can reduce the betterment with low-interest loans as opposed to total betterment cost, if there's a mechanism we can use to do that, I think that's a good idea, but we've already spent numbers of millions of dollars on buying property, and I don't know if we're going to be able to use some of that property or not. I don't know. It doesn't, we don't know.
just in reading through sort of the steps.
Yeah.
After you go through a formal DEP review,
Yeah.
that will definitely trigger at least a MEPA, ENF.
Yeah.
And then MEPA, they'll decide if you need to do a full environmental impact report or not for the project.
Yeah.
And if it does trigger a full environmental impact report, then you're prevented from advancing even preliminary design until after you obtain that MEPA. And so,
For certification.
yeah, and I don't know if it's during the preliminary design process when you establish the suitability of the site for purposes of being able, does it have the geotechnical qualities that you need for an on-site?
Well, after reading some of the stuff in there, some of that land is unsuitable to do what we need to do, so.
So
We had
still
Wright Pierce, didn't we, is a contract, we had a contract with them originally, didn't we?
Yes. I'm not sure where they're at. Roger's taking that.
Yeah. But they're not charged with any of this business at all. That's not in
I
there.
have nothing to do with that contract, so
You
I
check
can't
it.
tell you where it is, what it's about.
Yeah, okay. All right. No.
Was that test pits or test borings that they did up there?
I think it has something to do with test borings and other geotech issues.
Yeah.
And so, you all set it?
Yeah. My best man, he had a heart attack.
Oh.
He's doing better though.
Okay. Well,
You had some comments you made about the South Hingham area as far as getting sewer from Rockland?
yes, one of the comments and it's only a comment, I didn't see anything in this Phase 2 report that suggested that the town contact the selectmen and the sewer commission in Rockland. They have a wastewater treatment plant there. I think we need to talk to those folks, not for the entire South Hingham area, but at least for the industrial park, because that's so isolated by the highway up there, okay, that it might be better to try and cut a deal with Rockland if we can, just for the industrial park. And then that would give them the boost, if we could do something like that, and it could happen, that would give them a boost up there to get going up there, and it might spur other developers also. So, I mean,
There are some Hingham properties that are hooked to Rockland Sewer. up
yeah,
on-
is the hospital, South Shore Hospital Center, is that hooked over to Rockland?
I don't
No, they have their
believe
own
that.
system.
They have their on-site system? Okay, but
I'm talking more
Sano,
Sharp Street.
yeah, Sano,
General Labs is.
right, they're what are they, a medical research team or
Research,
something?
yeah.
Company? They send their wastewater to Rockland?
So it's not unheard of.
You're talking Sharp Street?
No, yeah, Sano Labs. They send, but I mean, even if they don't have capacity, and they may not even want to talk to us, but I think we need to approach them.
They might have capacity,
They might, who knows, if you don't talk to them, we'll never know,
We'll
So,
look into that.
yeah, I'll look into that.
I think all this has been looked into before.
Any
And
reports?
talk about the MWRA and coming through Weymouth and going to Rockland, and This has been done. I don't know where it stands.
Who's doing that? Do
I
you know?
think it could have been Wright Pearson. Roger Fernandez might have had, was looking into that also.
Town planner?
Excuse me?
Is the town planner, is she looking into it all? The town planner?
The town planner?
Yeah,
I don't know if she is or not,
yeah.
but I think until, and this is how it's been explained to me, until the commission has a policy on how they're going to charge betterments for the infrastructure, that would have to go in. So there could be estimates put forth to the property owners. I think we're at a standstill. That's how it's been explained to me. And I think that's part of what this policy in this document is setting the policy so, I mean, numbers can be estimated on what the cost of the system is, but we don't know how we're going to charge that to the property
Property
owners.
owners?
So they can't say yes or no, because they don't know. And I think that's where we're at a standstill. Because I know we went through looking at going through Weymouth and MWRA,
Yeah,
and that didn't work out, and I'm pretty sure they looked into Rockland. I'm not positive of that, but it's all come down to, for the last, I think, 6 months, I'm pretty sure, if not longer, is that the commission had to come up with a policy for the betterments. So then, because they know pretty much what the system's going to cost, or a roundabout.
Right.
Then they can put forth an estimate for the owners to see if they're willing to put the money up to build it. I think that's where the standstill is. So I think at the next meeting, you should,
We should
you know,
talk about that.
Betterments?
talk about that and have Roger Fernandez come in.
And, yeah.
And discuss that and
Yeah.
find out exactly where he is with that. But that's how it was explained to me. I might be wrong in some
So is
cases,
Wright
but,
Pierce looking at that right now at all, or?
see, I'm not, I believe so, but I can't say that definitely.
Okay, all right. Is Roger overseeing the Wright Pierce?
Yes, I believe so.
Yes, okay.
So maybe one of you want to get
Right.
with Roger
Yeah.
or and have him come here and explain
Yeah,
what's
have him
going on.
come in, yeah.
I know he's been here in the past, probably a year ago, and
Okay.
has explained all this. But, you know, since we do have new commissioners, I think that would be a good idea to have him come in and explain where he is with the project, and then you can discuss it from there. That's my suggestion.
I think in the past, he said, you know, we talked about the land we purchased up there, the 18 acres, and he said when it was purchased, they knew it wasn't going to be big enough for a treatment plant. So that's where they stand with that land that they bought. So he could probably update us on what's going on if he comes in. We could put it on the agenda for that meeting, the April meeting.
Yeah, okay. I get it. I get it, so that's gotta, let's put that on the top of the agenda for next month. No question.
So there's a small section relative to Rockland in here that CDM or someone that was involved with the Comprehensive Wastewater Master Plan interviewed the plant operator over in Rockland and said the plant is receiving 2.5 million gallons per day and has no capacity to make available to Hingham. He also reported that there's an EPA order prohibiting out-of-town connections into their system.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that answers that question.
How do they do that? They did it with Cerno, though.
Well, that was probably
Yeah.
the last of the Mohegan, you know, they just,
I
That was
remember
the
going
end
to the
of it.
meeting.
yeah, they couldn't take any more after that, you know.
What date was that now, Kenny?
So this is part of CDM's report, which I think dates back to July 2011, so it's
Yeah.
a little bit older now. And then
Well-
all the costs in this report, too, are all,
They're all skewed now because
all
of the
yeah.
longevity of the, yep.
so they're, those would all have to be, if we were to maintain those estimates, all have to be adjusted for escalation and inflation. And we've seen, since 2011, we've seen some significant,
Well, that's-
changes.
That's why I say that next year, the year after, if we're going forward and we're really gaining some steam, we're going to have to have this updated, have all the costs and other issues, but I think the policies that we need to have in place, we'll have in place. So the only thing we'll really need to do is to update the numbers and hopefully,
Yeah, if the landowners want financial information for them to make a decision, we'll have to be fairly confident in the numbers that we put out there.
yeah.
And so, right now, at least the information here is probably pretty dated.
Well, the only thing we could do is use the best information available, okay? And that's only my opinion. Use the best information available and use it with the caveat that this is the best information available at this time. Can we update it in a year from now or two? Certainly we can. It's very, we can update it very quickly, actually. If we see we're going forward, make it a point to update certain, we'll have bullet points of certain information that we'll have to update every year or every 2 years so that we have some reasonable numbers to give these folks,
Is Susan Murphy working on the betterments policy?
Susan Murphy's not working on the betterments. She's handed it off to Weston and Sampson.
Well, Weston Sampson's doing it entirely.
Yes. That's the working session that we have to get through, the betterment policy and the regulations.
Okay.
The betterment policy is that, I know there's some discussion about calculating the unit,
Well,
the unit rate.
in the betterment,
There's the
you have a
criteria.
copy of that, Kenny.
I do,
It discusses
yeah.
unit
Unit
pricing,
pricing,
yeah,
yeah.
And I had suggested, I thought, looking at the number of square feet available for building in South Hingham, just in the industrial and the commercial,
Frontage.
maybe a square foot by the square foot. If you have a 107,000 square feet lot up in the industrial park, okay, that would, let's say that enters into the equation, because you might be able to subdivide that into 2 lots, or maybe even 3, small office building group, but at least we would be able to have a betterment for the entire location instead of trying to do it individually. Maybe that'll work, maybe it won't work, okay? So,
I think CDM has a proposed calculation
Right.
methodology in this report. I don't know if Weston and Sampson has a similar approach or not.
I am not sure.
Sure, yeah.
there's Kurt.
Right on time.
You're right on time, Kurt. Are you ready? Okay. Basically, what we're talking about here is going forward, okay? And what we think we want to do is, in completing the phase 2, actually, section 5, is we're going to get a price from Weston and Sampson to complete that document, to make sure that it meets the criteria. What we need is, we need a copy of the criteria to start with. Is that something that you have or can get?
The criteria being the criteria that we use for the analysis per section.
Well,
You're gonna need to get to Mike.
Yeah, you want to get it a mic?
Yeah,
Yeah. You're good at that.
Probably put it right on your chair, Kurt.
pull your chair up and drop the mic if you want.
Okay?
All right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The criteria for our needs analysis in developing the document, yeah, I have that.
Yeah, okay. We need a copy of that because we need to be able to present that and then highlight the areas that pertain to the section 5 and 6. And we're going to, I think that's the best way to do it, because we could talk about this till cows come home. The only thing we have to do is get a price to complete section 5, and Randy is going to talk to Weston and Sampson on these other issues also. We're going to try to lump sum this whole thing so we can get it completed. Now, I understand that we've already filed this with the DEP preliminary. Have they corresponded back to us in writing what it is that's missing, or what they object to, or do they have any comment at all?
I went to that meeting, and it was an informal discussion about the document,
Yep.
and they gave us pointers about those things which they thought were shortcomings on the document,
Okay.
and I'll outline a couple of them.
Do we have that in writing someplace so that we can?
Roger Fernandez may have written them down. I did not. Ted was there also.
Okay. Okay.
There wasn't a lot of writing. It was,
Okay.
Yeah.
So give us your speech, man.
as you know, the document turned into something at the end which was not what we anticipated in the beginning as far as the South Hingham. That was a avalanche towards that particular perspective. When we looked at the 19 different areas of the town for sewer needs, economic development was not a strong need. And when we came to making a recommendation, the thought was, you know, this is our future, and it did have a fair number of Title V failures in that region, that this would be something that we, as a committee, would recommend and help to move the process along, which we did. So going before the state with this, they recognized that, and they also mentioned the fact that the way they looked at South Hingham, because it was less a need as a want, that there are a couple things they weren't going to budge much on. And principally is that the South Hingham district, the wastewater which would be going to that area should be recharged back into the Weir River watershed. And if we did that, they would be very happy, and they would consider, in talking to Mr. Levanchi, increasing our permit for the amount of water we can withdraw from the Weir River, because we actually would be gaining. So we said, well, geez, this is what we looked at, and this is what we have in our document. And they said, we see your little parcel over there, and we are unsure if that is within the Weir district. Give us a little bit better, clearer picture. And is that parcel going to be able to be suitable as far as the effluent for the SAS, the soil absorption?
That
area?
Abington Street, zero Abington Street on the other side of the highway?
It's the, we purchased the lot
Yes.
a couple of years ago. I don't know
acres
the
or so.
address.
Zero Abington Street.
I think the reason to purchase it was to put the plant there and to jack underneath Route 3 and disperse in a property in which we would find a suitable owner that is trying to get something, you know, for us or from us, and we're looking for something from them. I think the Avalon property evolved in that manner, to leave it, you know, kind of pristine and just use the soil, the area for soil absorption. That still is an option. I think that's something for the commission to look to see, you know, what the costs are for those various options. But they wanted that water back on this side of Route 3. That was, they weren't going to budge on that. The DEP.
Yeah.
And I've had a chance to talk to Bob a little bit. When we went through our needs analysis, there are a couple other areas within the town that we looked at as far as needs historically, and they are within the document, but they're not highlighted. And I think that one of the things that you may want to do is to kind of revisit that area.
World's End, was that one of them?
Cedar Grove, the one part of World's End, not the entire, but the middle part. And I can tell you from being on the Board of Health, we are doing unusual septic system design in those areas, using the street. which we've never done before. So that's something I know that we've expressed with Mr. Kaplan a concern, and I think that we're going to get together and talk about that at some point. And I've mentioned this a number of times, this document, most other towns, they have a comprehensive water resource document in which is a combined water supply and sewer. We're unique. We get a private water company, so ours is one of the last comprehensive master wastewater plans out there. They don't allow those anymore. They want to see the combination of the water supply and the septic. So I think we have a unique opportunity where the document, from the perspective of the committee, we gave it to you. We thought it was 100% done, and recognizing what the document entails, it's about 95% done.
That's right.
Yeah. So I think you're very, very close.
Okay.
Kirk, only because I'm not familiar with the history of sort of the whole process. So first of all, my compliments to your involvement with that committee. That was a long...
Well, the committee was established by town meeting.
Meeting.
It had a representative from the Board of Health, a representative from the Sewer Commission, it had a representative from the Selectmen.
Advisory board.
Not the advisory, but the Planning Board.
Planning board.
The Conservation Commission, and these are members of those boards
Yeah.
that served, a lot of Type A personalities.
That's,
And so it was fabulous to work in that regard, because everyone, when they said something, they meant it. They could back it up.
yeah, it's a really
So
well done
it was
document.
it's a wonderful outline. I think that
It's really a great framework to move forward with. It really is.
it is, but it was advisory to the Sewer Commission, and
Yeah, it was I was curious about sort of process and governance. If I assume the selectmen is the one, through town meeting created the committee and.
no, I think
It's actually.
your Sewer Commission.
Oh, okay.
Commission did, yeah.
Oh, okay,
I
great.
think the state recommended the model, and you guys signed on.
Okay, great.
And it was a $400,000 document. I think 430 in the end.
Yeah.
We looked at everything. I mean, it was a complete, comprehensive perspective. Two public hearings we held on it.
You guys have any money left at all?
We never had money. We had needs, but the Sewer Commission member at the time, he held the budget. That was John Brandt. So
There's any state money available.
there were a number of things that, I don't think it's much ed, but there was another Sewer Commission member that had his little project, and so a lot of the money went towards engineering studies as opposed to the study. But again, it's 95% completed. We threw an extra 30 into it.
So I think we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
I really do. I think
So the only thing I would
Let's get it
mention to you,
cleaned up.
I believe I have the Word document for Section 6, because I wrote Section 6 myself
Okay.
and Matt MacGyver.
Okay.
And I believe that Roger Fernandez has the Word copy for Section 5.
Oh, okay.
And his concern, I remember when he was writing it, was no one told him what the betterments were going to be in South Hingham. He just kind of put something together. And he's been looking for that direction.
I have discussed briefly with him on that, where we need to sit down and go over all of that. And we talked about that here this evening, about going forward on the discussion. That's all important. That's going to be on the top of the agenda in the next meeting. So we've got to give them something, and we will.
Yeah, and I mentioned this to Bob. I mean, once this document goes in, it's a living document. I think I heard you say that. Just get it in. And then from there, you can amend it and change it to exactly what the needs of the town, because they change over time. And the fact that we haven't got it in, it's holding us back. And so, now you really have a board that's going to, work together and push this thing forward. But, geez, that was 2004 where this was proposed.
I think we can do it working together with you people at the health department.
Yeah,
the other agencies.
whatever group that you put up, I'll come and meet with you guys. You know, if you want to do it during the day, help you out with your documents, because you have a lot of work. You know, when I first got on the Board of Health, we had a lot of work, but we kind of get through that.
Yeah, but,
You guys get a lot of work.
so I think that's the best way to approach this now is to, and Randy's gonna talk to Weston and Sampson, find out where we're going, what's it gonna cost to
Give
finish
us a
this up.
ballpark figure.
Give us a number, and then we'll have to try to figure it out, how we're gonna pay for it.
Yeah, because you had the PDFs for sections 1 through 4. So it's really 5 and
Is this
6.
entire document now on Word someplace? Does someone have that?
I only have 6. I have the PDF on the rest of the sections, but I can't edit. I mean, I could use a program to re-edit
Yeah.
it, but
Could you send me section 6? Thank you.
and section 6, by the way, is part of what you're doing now with your policies manual.
Right.
And I'm thrilled, by the way, that we're going to be going to town meeting together regarding our mutual proposal for a bylaw. That would be part of section 6. And the one thing I'm asking, if you guys in section 6, I always wanted to do this, but it just never got done. If a homeowner wants to have his property or her property sewered, how do they do it? What's step 1? What's step 2? And that criteria that you go through for a homeowner, that's never been identified. That would be perfect for section 6. And so, you know, again, that's something that can be developed over time in the living document, but that would be a lovely thing to put together as far as your policy manual. That's one of the things
Well, the other 2 sword districts we have that information, right? We have policy on those, and we're reviewing the North Sword District right now. So that's basically in
yeah,
there.
all 3 districts are different.
Well, I understand
procedure,
that, but 2 out of the 3, I think, you know, and this has to be done. But this, just one last comment, and then I'll keep my mouth shut. This Phase 2 document is very specific to South Hingham.
Well, I mean, the section 5, the recommended
Yeah,
plan is.
it is.
But you look at the entire document before that, I
Nothing.
mean, we were living in various parts of the town relative to the needs from people that were coming before us and saying, hey, you know, we'd like to have sewer here.
Yeah.
So it was only the end in which South Hingham was presented as an economic development in addition to a needs area, but more economic than anything else. We signed on.
Yeah.
You know, that was what was asked of us as a group.
So do you want to look into that? I'll assign you that.
Okay. I'll get a hold of Roger first. Okay, and then Randy's going to get a copy of Section 6,
You can get a copy.
and I need to get a copy of that as well.
Well, we
They will have it.
appreciate your comments on what,
Sorry you're late, you know, it's a tough ride. and-
Today was a pretty good commute here on the way home, but
Okay.
it's been tough the past couple of weeks.
Okay.
yeah, our next meeting's going to be April 11th.
Oh, okay.
No. Next meeting is March 24th. March
Oh,
24th. Eddie.
March 24th.
Yeah, March 24th at 7.
My mistake.
Okay. And one of the top items on the agenda will be that betterment issue at South Hingham.
It seems like if you just, you know, vote through those
Yeah,
various
we'll just
policies.
go one
that's the way
through
to
the
do it.
other.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, as long as we get our arms around it, figure out how much it's going to cost to complete so that we can get it in. Because, you know, it is a base document that can be changed, but we need to have something to go forward, period.
And that's a well-written of the policy manual.
Yeah.
You can see the policy manual.
Yeah.
The first part needs to be helped, you know, I can help you with that one.
Yeah.
It needs to be written like a regulation, but the betterment part is beautiful.
Yeah.
An attorney, it looks like, wrote it. Yeah, that's done very well. May I ask one question?
Sure.
Tomorrow, before the selectmen, is the bylaw proposal.
Yes, it is.
I don't know if you've appointed someone to tag along, but I'd like to be able to go there and show that this is a mutual proposal by the 2 groups and that we've worked together on
Well,
doing
we have a
this.
letter that we're signing off on this evening that will go to the Board of Health.
Okay?
All right,
You
so,
want to just walk in with that tomorrow? Tomorrow's with the selectmen, about 8:30, 9 o'clock. They go through each of the bylaw proposals and take in public comment. Be nice if we're sitting together.
You know, okay,
I don't know the time. I know they start at 7, and they do the controversial ones first, and this one's last, one of
Yeah.
the latter ones.
We can do that. You can attend that, right?
yeah, I can be there.
Want to go to that too? Are you available?
Well, then we'd have to, we can't, because
Can't
that
have
would be a public meeting, only one person.
Okay.
Well, anyone can go. You can't speak.
Well, we don't want to,
Comment.
okay. Did-
That'd be fabulous. And you know what? You guys are a breath of fresh air. I appreciate it. All in.
Okay.
no, Get it done.
Wonderful working with you guys.
We'll get it done, we'll get it done.
Oh, I have no
Yep.
doubt. Excuse me?
Do you recall, I just have one maybe other question. You know, a great job on the needs assessment matrix, which looked at all the different criteria for which you gave a numerical score to rank each sort of area within the town to kind of prioritize things. Did the DEP make any comments like, you know, you're focused on South Hingham, when are you going to be doing the other areas or higher priority areas or?
DEP, Ed knows this, DEP approached Hingham and said, we're not going to allow you to expand any sewer in your town until you complete this document. This is back in 2002 or 2003.
They don't like piecemeal.
They hate it. They hate it. So they were thrilled to get the document. They liked the fact that we had an objective, and they just were quizzing us. Complete it. Make sure you put in there the basics that we want to look for, which is we want to see that water come back. We want the numbers, to see what you're going to put together with that. But as far as the needs analysis, they did not go through and kind of pick apart why we decided what we did. They didn't care. Just if you're going to give them something,
Yeah.
make sure it's it's what you want. And if we do it or not, who knows? But at least it's something that's been explored.
Well, if we can get the criteria and find out what it is that's missing from the report that the
I think
DEP
Roger-
has said,
Roger and-
this is what I'll talk to Roger, I'll try to get him, well, he's on vacation this week, I guess, next week.
He's back.
Oh, he's
back?
back, oh, okay,
Last week.
okay. And if he has that information, then, we can address it directly with Weston and Sampson along with the criteria, just that section 5 and 6, and let's get it over with.
Yeah, and if you put together a bullet list of all those items that you want to have in the 6, I'll do it for you. Because I'm very good at that type of writing.
Yeah.
I wrote to start with. But, Bob's been giving me some ideas what he would like to see within that section 6, and I agree. The more information, the better the town is going to feel that, you guys got it covered. These are all the things that we've never had. It's just kind of, we winged it for a long time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you very much.
Yep. And Randy, fabulous street, by the way.
You're going to have that meeting, when is it?
There's a meeting tomorrow at 7. I'll look on the agenda to see what time they're going to start the
You're gonna be there.
stuff, yeah.
All right, I hear a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn, Kenny?
Second it?
All those in favor?
Aye. Sorry to keep you guys late.
This was a great
That was
discussion,
good.
very helpful
Yeah,
for me
yeah,
to be able to get some of the background.
yeah.